Welcome to Beyond the Competition, the SAE University Programs Podcast. Hey guys, I'm Mike Sawyer, the podcast and media producer with the University Programs with SAE, and we are here back in the studio with, of course, Scott Schultz, your host extraordinaire of the CDS Action News and so much more.
Hello, everyone.
Good,
hello, Mike.
Good to have you back, sir.
It's good to be back.
And we have a very special guest. He's been deemed the father of Formula SAE here, and I'm really looking forward to our conversation. He's a professor emeritus at the University of Texas. Ron Matthews is with us today. How you doing today, Ron?
Doing good.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to this. Are you looking forward to looking back at how many years of Formula is it now, Scott?
Over 40.
Over 40 years of Formula. Did you think it would last this long?
I hope so, but no, not in my wildest dreams.
Awesome. I know, Scott, you like to break the ice a little bit with the first question.
Yeah, we like to start a question with a segment we like to call Let's Get Weird, where I ask a weird question. This one's not that weird, though. If you could have a superpower, what superpower would it be?
Some way of getting the students to pay attention.
Oh, that's a tough one, I bet.
That's a tough one, yeah.
Get them to ask questions when they are unsure.
Maybe a little mind control then.
Yeah, right.
So tell me, what did inspire you for the creation of Formula SAE, and how did that concept entirely come to life for you?
So I joined the mechanical engineering faculty at the University of Texas, Austin, the main campus, in January of 1980, and I taught the engines course very first semester. And the first week of class, I told the students in the class that we should start a student branch of the SAE, to which they were all very enthusiastic. And so then the students, right after that, decided that they wanted to get involved in the mini Indy competition. And so this mini Indy was asphalt racing. Each car had to use a 5-horsepower single-cylinder Briggs & Stratton engine that they were not allowed to touch. They couldn't modify it in any way. Well, it turned out that mini Indy had been held 1 year at the University of Houston, and then was never held again. And so the students decided that we should have our own competition, and again, make it asphalt racing, but make it more interesting by requiring each team to choose their own engine. And there was only 2 constraints on the engine. It had to be a 4-stroke engine, and that includes Wankels. And it had to have a 1-inch diameter or a hydraulic diameter intake port.
And once the idea was conceived, what was your role in transforming it into a fully fledged competition?
UTSA student branch officers Mike Best, Carl Morris, and Sylvia Obregon, now Sylvia Singh, along with me, began planning and organizing the event to be held in May of 1981. And it's important to note that Formula SAE was not a simple renaming of the Mini Indy competition, but instead was an entirely new competition. So I should also note that student branch members Robert Edwards and John Telkamp led a discussion among the UTSA membership and envisioned a competition that would resemble the SCCA Formula 440 entry-level racing that was popular at the time. And I came up with the Formula SAE name following the format of Formula A and Formula V, but emphasizing that this was to be an engineering competition and not a driver's competition. So the students came up with Edward Telkamp, Joe Green, Dick Morton, Mike Best, and Carl Morris drafted a set of safety and competition rules. And presented them to me and to the other student members, and after everybody agreed on it. And so once we had conceived this idea, my role in transforming it into a fully fledged competition, let me start off by saying that the universities fall into 2 categories, those that are focused on research and those that are focused on teaching. And UT Austin is a research university, meaning that my promotions and merit raises were all based upon the quality, breadth, and depth of my research. And so, since I was an as yet untenured assistant professor, then spending a lot of time getting Formula SAE going was not the smartest thing I ever did. Okay, so after the UT team had generated a complete set of rules, I contacted Bob Seckler at SAE Educational Relations Department, the head of SAE Educational Relations, and this was before SAE established the positions of manager of collegiate design, series competitions, education program specialist, and Formula SAE program lead. So when I contacted Bob Seckler at SAE headquarters, I asked him for his permission both to establish this new intercollegiate student engineering design competition and to host it in the summer of 1981, and he agreed. So this was before the internet, which went public in 1991. It was before PCs. The Apple II came out in 1977, and the IBM PC came out in 1981, but neither were widely available for a while. And it was before cell phones, which were demonstrated in 1973 and made it to market in 1983, but cost about $3,500 a piece. So a lot of technologies that we take as part of everyday life now were not available then. So we drafted a letter to be sent along to be sent along with all of the rules to all SAE student branches in North America. And mailed that to Bob Seckler, and he then duplicated and mailed the package to all of the student branches in North America. And again, there was no internet or email back then.
Do you remember how many teams were in the first competition?
Yes, 6 teams said they would show, but only 4 teams did show. That included us, so we didn't have to travel very far.
Do you remember the team that traveled the furthest?
That would have been Stevens Institute of New Jersey, Stevens Institute of Technology in New Jersey.
Okay.
And they won the competition.
Oh, so it was worth the trip for them.
Yeah. So in spite of it being small, it was national in scope. And so there was Stevens Institute out of New Jersey, University of Cincinnati in Ohio, University of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and us from Texas. And we also had judges from around the U.S. as well, although most of them were from Texas. So I rounded up a distinguished list of judges with invaluable aid from some of the judges who invited other judges that they thought would be valuable. So our judges were Malcolm Abel of Abel Oil in Midland, Texas, Larry Bindley of EG&G Automotive Research, which now has a new name that I can't recall off the top of my head. And they're in San Antonio, Jim Brown of Southwest Research Institute in San Antonio, Fred Buckingham of Forney Engineering in Addison, Texas, Sam Ide of Ford in Dearborn, Michigan, Jim Gray of EG&G Automotive Research in San Antonio again, Jim Hall, who of Chaparral Cars in Midland, Texas. He's a mechanical engineer who became a famous race car engineer, owner, builder, and driver. And so he flew in from the Indy 500 to be a judge at the very first Formula SAE competition, and that was impressive. Tim Harrington of the General Motors Assembly Division in Oklahoma City. Clark Kibler of Mobil Oil in Plano, Texas. Jim Medley of the GM Assembly Division in Arlington, Texas. And Jerry Wallingford of EG&G Automotive Research in San Antonio. So of those, Dr. Fred Buckingham, Sam Ide, Jim Gray, Clark Kibler, and Jerry Wallingford were judges all 4 years that we hosted the competition.
Oh, nice.
Excellent. So what challenge did you and the early organizers kind of face in putting this Formula SAE competition together and getting it off the ground for the first time?
And so lots of permissions. So first we had to get Bob Seckler on board, and that was pretty simple. Bob was enthusiastic about the idea. But then we had to make arrangements for a place to have the competition, and that was always the 4 years that we had it in one or several parking lots on the UT campus. And then to make arrangements for um, uh, a standby ambulance, and Bob Seckler said that we should get a standby ambulance just in case something went wrong. I had to make arrangements for uh, safety barriers, so we found a place that would loan us a bunch of old tires, and so we had to go out and get those, come back in a big trailer full of tires, and set up the courses with those tires, and then after the competition was over, take all those tires back, and then this was before food trucks, and so um, that first year, we don't have a big recollection of what we did in that first year, but years 2, 3, and 4, my wife and a friend of hers, my wife Pam, and a friend of hers, Carrie Tynan, made sandwiches for everybody, all the students on all 4 teams, and all the judges. Made sandwiches and brought soft drinks for everybody.
Could you describe the early years of Formula SAE?
Because some SAE intercollegiate student engineering design competitions had proved to be unsuccessful, such as the recreational ecological vehicle competition and mini Indy. Then, in order to make sure we had a sustainable competition, we decided that we would continue hosting it until I thought that it could survive on its own. So, that first year, as I said, there were 6 teams said they would come, but only 4 showed up. And we had to come up with rules for this competition. And so the rules in that first year were really quite simple. So the vehicle had to be able to carry a person 6 feet tall, weighing 200 pounds. There was a cost ceiling of $1,750 had to be observed, and they had to prove that with receipts. Things were much cheaper 44 years ago. Let's see, the brakes must be capable of sliding 2 tires on dry pavement or of stopping the vehicle within 45 feet from an initial speed of 20 miles per hour. Vehicle must be of student design and construction. The design team could select any 4-stroke engine, any 4-stroke single carburetor engine with an intake port restriction of 1 inch in diameter or hydraulic diameter. There are also safety rules such as requirements for a roll bar and a driver's helmet. But unfortunately, those rules are typewritten, duplicated, and handed out to the judges, and whatever team members didn't have a set, then we don't have any remaining copies, so we don't know what all the rest of the rules were. And then there were 3 dynamic events, and I'm pretty sure this was true all 4 years. There was an acceleration event, so it was 100 yards or 91.44 meters from a standing start. There was a fuel economy event, and there was a combined maneuverability and endurance event. And there were no static events, but there were 2 awards given during each of the first 4 years. Best appearance and excellence in engineering design and creativity.
For comparison, for those that don't know that may be watching this that are not into Formula yet, you mentioned what was a $1,700 limit on the car, right? What is the average for a Formula car these days? Do we know?
Well, I know what our average is, or at least what our average was quite a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
$30,000.
Yep, that's a pretty good.
Yes, little bit of inflation.
A little bit of inflation there, and I'm sure like a lot of interesting new technologies are going into what people use these days as well.
So because only 4 teams entered in that first year, we decided to add a Briggs and Stratton class for 1981. For 81-82, sorry. That's year 2, to allow teams that were involved in the successful mini Indy competition to just come to Formula SAE and compete, but with a car that they'd already built, so they didn't have to start from scratch and try to design, fabricate, test, and compete a whole new car. And so There was also a significant rule change added for 82, and so the first Formula SAE rules, which were patented after mini Indy, did not require suspension, and thus several of the cars in year one were simply large go-karts, didn't have a suspension. So year two, we added the suspension rule. We also had a rule that you could run a car 2 years in a row to allow for continued development, and we kept that until Formula SAE got too big, but it didn't get too big during our 4 years. UT won. UT Austin won in that second year and in the Formula SAE class, and UT Arlington won in the BNS class, so the Mini Baja class. Mini Baja is now Baja SAE for those who don't recognize the name Mini Baja, but it's kind of long in the tooth. Second year, we had the first international entry, and that was Universidad La Salle from Mexico. And they entered the car in the BNS class. So a total of 9 vehicles. So we went from 4 to 9 in year two, and which only UT Austin was the only repeat entry, the only school that showed up in year two that hadn't been there or that was there in year one. So a total of 9 vehicles competed in 82, of which so entrants in the Formula SAE class were UT Austin, Illinois, at Urbana-Champaign, Houston, and Nichols State, which is in Louisiana. Entrants in the BNS class for UT Arlington, and they had 2 cars in the Baja class. Southern Methodist, Universidad La Salle, and UT Austin had a car in the BNS class as well as in the Formula SAE class. For year 3, we eliminated the BNS class, but the number of entrants was still 9, including 4 teams that had not previously entered: Marquette, Texas A&M, Michigan Tech, and West Virginia. And UT Arlington won in year 3. Okay, and although the BNS class had been eliminated for year 3, 2 cars showed up looking like Mini Baja cars, so we added another rule for year 4, saying it had to look like a Formula car. And so among the notable advances in Formula SAE technology was the first ever all-composite vehicle, and that was entered by UT Austin. The rules for 1984 noted that because this is an engineering design competition and not a test of driver skill, a 2-second penalty will be assessed every time a tire is lifted off the pavement during a turn. So 11 cars said that they would attend in year 4, but only 8 showed up at that 4th competition. Schools that had not previously been to a Formula SAE competition were Lawrence Tech and the Milwaukee School of Engineering. The University of Houston won the year 4 competition.
What were the most significant changes and developments you've observed over these years with the Formula SAE event?
Much better tires and data from the Formula SAE Tire Test Consortium. Electronic fuel injection sized appropriately for Formula SAE engines, although teams began using electronic fuel injection when they were still too large, such that idle speeds were 2,000 RPM and higher, because we just couldn't get small enough injectors. Software that's useful for designing race engines and race cars was not available during those first 4 years. And so now we have things like Realis Wave, formerly Ricardo Wave, and lots of suspension design software, lots of just regular mechanical engineering design software. Engineering tools to fabricate race cars, such as MIG welding. Lincoln Electric produced and sold the first commercial MIG welder in 1994. A lot of computer-aided manufacturing. So CNC is one example of that. So numerically controlled machines in the 1970s, CNC at a reasonable cost in the 1980s. Plasma cutting was invented in '57, not generally accepted until the mid-70s and did not grow in popularity until the mid-80s when low amperage systems began to be manufactured, and that became CNC in the 80s. Abrasive water jet cutting was patented in 1987, computer numerically controlled in the 1990s, and rapid prototyping or additive manufacturing in 1992, and aftermarket user programmable engine control modules. So those are what I see as the big changes.
Lots of changes.
Lots of changes.
Do you still maintain friendships with the first team and your early teammates that you helped put this together with?
Yes, I do. I have an email listserv with more than 1,000 of my former students who are active in intercollegiate student engineering design competitions. That includes not just the first 4 years, but all 44 years, 45 years actually.
Oh.
And we have reunions about every 5 years or so. We're having a reunion this coming May, just for those students who were active during the first 4 Formula SAE competitions.
Oh, nice. It would be nice to see where they are now, you know?
Yeah, we will.
What are you most proud of when it comes to looking back at Formula SAE?
Most proud that Formula SAE has grown into the largest intercollegiate student engineering design competition in the entire world, with Formula SAE, or Formula Student, as it's called in some countries, although Formula Student and Formula SAE have exactly the same rules, so that we can compete in their competitions, they can come compete in ours. And there are now Formula SAE competitions held in Australia, Austria, Brazil, China, Croatia, the Czech Republic, Germany, Hungary, India, Italy, Japan, the Netherlands, Russia, South Korea, Spain, Thailand, the United Kingdom, and 2 in the USA every year. And the foreign competitions are held before the US competition, so they send their very best teams over to the US competition. So we have to compete not just against the best teams in North America, but against the best teams in the world.
How do you think Formula SAE has influenced engineering education?
I'm confident that Formula SAE has had a very significant effect on engineering education. So each team must apply the technical knowledge gained in their coursework to a complex real-world engineering design problem, specifically designing, fabricating, testing, and competing a race car. While most engineering departments have a capstone engineering design course for seniors, Formula SAE is a year-long effort instead of a single semester or 2 semesters at a few schools. It's not just for seniors. At UT, we encourage all students from freshmen to grad students to get involved.
So, what are some of your favorite memories, or from the competition?
So my favorite memories are from the very first competition in 1981. So meeting the judges face to face, meeting the other faculty advisors and students from the other teams. Surviving the Memorial Day flood when it just poured and with some hail, and the creek through the middle of campus overflowed its banks. But we successfully concluded the event. No rain tires available back then, so it was fun. And nobody was prepared for the rain, so one of our judges, Malcolm Abel, went out and bought rain gear for everybody, every student on every team, and all the judges. Malcolm Abel bought rain gear for everybody. So I was impressed by that. Another of my favorite memories is that we had broken an axle in the very first year of the competition and finished in last place. In year 2, we came in first overall, first in acceleration, and first in the combined maneuverability and endurance event for 1982. So that was a favorite memory. And overall, my best memories are of all of the wonderful students on all of the UT Formula SAE teams throughout the 44 years of the Formula SAE competition.
What legacy do you hope Formula SAE leaves for future generations?
That would have to be that Formula SAE is an exceptional way to enhance engineering education while also being a platform for making lifelong friends.
Can't have enough friends, right?
That's for sure.
You've seen 40 years of this and seen it grow. Do you have any advice for students looking to get into this, or those that are trying to get their car out there maybe for the first time this year?
For students who are thinking about getting into it, I highly encourage it. This is, as I said previously, an excellent way to improve your own engineering education and to make lifelong friends. For teams that are trying to get involved in it, then since you can no longer build a car for $1,750, then money. You got to go out and find sponsors.
Was there a point where what was the point where you're like, we have something and it's growing bigger than I expected?
Yeah, I think that was year 3
Mm-hmm.
when we eliminated the B&S class, and we still had a bunch of Formula SAE cars there. It hadn't grown anywhere near as large as it is now. I think our largest year was 9 schools, and now there are 80 at Michigan International Speedway, and where's the other competition now?
They're both in Michigan now.
Oh, that's right. They're both in Michigan.
Yeah.
So 120 at the first Michigan race and 80 at the second one.
Yeah.
So
they might have bumped that up to 100 at the second one too.
Mm-hmm.
So
really?
Yeah. So we're looking at over 200 schools now competing.
Wow,
Mm-hmm.
man.
Yeah, between
that's impressive.
And between IC and EV, like that's pretty crazy. Like that's not even that's 2 competitions of unique cars. There's no crossover there.
Yeah, right.
Versus Baja, you can see the same car all through all 3 competitions or something, right?
Yeah, right.
So it's pretty wild. So Ron, it's been so great to have a conversation with you and look into that history, the 40-year history of Formula SAE that just keeps growing bigger and better and just evolving over the years as well. And it's very even I've been involved in Formula since 2017. I just seen the growth in just those few years has been pretty incredible.
Yeah, right.
Do you still come out to competition? Will we be seeing you here in the next couple months potentially?
I've made it to almost every competition. We had 4 years when we didn't get the car finished in time. One of those was 2008 when we just ran out of money back during the big financial meltdown. And I came one of those years when we didn't finish the car. And then when the second competition was held in Las Vegas, I had a flight on Southwest Airlines from Austin to Las Vegas, and I was at the airport, and Southwest canceled every flight throughout the United States, so I didn't make it to that one.
Wow.
Now, I may not make it to this one. I have had a real serious health issue that lasted a couple of months, which I'm getting over, but still real tired. So may not make it this year.
Well, hopefully you get better, and then if not this year, we'll see you next year.
Right.
Well, if you see us out there taking video here on the media team, we'd love to say hi to you if you catch us, and we'll keep an eye out for you in case you're at a competition as well. All right.
Okay, real good.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Again, Ron Matthews, the father of Formula here. And of course, keep an eye on everything. Make sure you've downloaded your app for Formula SAE. Keep an eye on FSAEonline.com. And also make sure you're following the podcast. Make sure you're following this either on YouTube, and there's a podcast playlist here that you can see if you're over on the YouTube Music or the playlist, however you do your YouTube as well. And of course, through all the podcast feeds as well, the Beyond the Competition. And look for Scott over on the CDS Action News, giving you all your updates for all the competitions with the SAE University programs. Follow TikTok, follow Instagram, and please collaborate with us as well. If you have videos of your cars or anything like that from competition, preparing for competition, we want to see your stuff. Collaborate with the SAE University programs over on Instagram, and you can be part of our feed as well. Thank you guys so much. Until next time, stay safe out there. Thank you for listening to Beyond the Competition, the SAE University Programs podcast. Show notes for this episode can be found at beyondthecompetition.fireside.fm. Remember to stay tuned for updates on your competition's newsfeed or app, and follow SAE_university programs on TikTok and Instagram. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you next episode.